Hi, fifth graders. So for today's math, we're actually going to combine lesson 9 and lesson 10 because they're so similar and I think you're going to pick up on them really quickly. So to begin with, we're going to use our math notebook again, and we're going to open up to our last or next blank page. So I'm flipping through. I haven't skipped any pages. And the last one I did was rounding, so I'm on the next page. And if you've missed any of the notes from before, I've created a document down below. You'll see a link to it where you can go back and catch up because you'll be able to use any of this on any future tests. All right, on this new page, we're going to title it Adding / Subtracting with Decimals. And then a little bit more writing, so I'm not going to have you pause yet. We're going to show how we do this, the rules of it, with some examples and non-examples. The rules for adding and subtracting are really similar, so we'll show both of these on here. Notice I'm going to make a T-chart, but I'm keeping the sign really short for now because we're going to do something that will apply to both of them. Okay, now is a good time to pause if you need to catch up to write any of this, and then press play when you're ready to continue. Okay, just for a visual, I'm going to use green for my examples, things that we should be doing, and then red for things I shouldn't be doing for my non-examples. All right, so I'm half my green. If you have different colors, you could do that as well. And let's start simple. Let's say you have $100 and I give you $5 more. How much money do you have? You should have $105. Let's write that as our example. So I'm going to write it just like this. I want you to copy exactly what I do. Here's my 100. You have $100. I give you 5 more. Notice where I wrote it. It's below the second zero. And of course I am adding. So 100 plus 5 would be 105. So my question for you today is, why is 100 plus 5 105? Why is it not, I'm going to switch to my red pen, like this? 100 plus 5, notice how I wrote it? So if I add up my columns now, we'd have 0, 0, 1 plus 5 is 6. I wish that would be nice. I wish this worked like this, because I have $600. But why is that not true? I want you to think. So for this example, this is why I kept this line short. I'm going to extend that line so it goes under these two problems. And then I'm going to draw a line across. And now I'm going to show some work to explain why this is true. So one of the things I'm going to do is write this out in unit form. So my first number, I only have one digit that has any value. Remember, zeros have no value. So I have a 1. And where is that 1? It's in the hundreds place. So I have 100. And I'm adding to that a 5. Where is that 5? It's in the ones place. Okay, I'm going to leave that be for a second. I'm going to come back to it. The second thing I want us to do is draw a little place value chart so we can show why the 1 and the 5 aren't being added together. So down below, I'm going to draw maybe 3 lines. Let's label these columns. So this is going to be my hundreds. This will be my tens. And this will be my ones, which means my decimal would go at the very end. Okay. So If you have other colors, it might be nice. You could also use just your green and red. That's also fine. So I'm going to do that. Well, I have other colors. I'm going to use something else. Here we go. So for my first number, I had just 100. So I'm going to draw that here. I have 1 in the hundreds place. And to that, I am adding 5 ones. So I'm going to use the other color, and I'm going to draw 5 ones. There we go. So when we are figuring out what our answer is, I'm looking at each of these place values and figuring out how many do I have in there. So in my ones column, I have 5. My tens column, I have 0. And in my hundreds column, I have 1. 105. The 600 doesn't work because I can't take these two numbers and add them together. They're not in the same place value. We know this. And this is going to be the same with decimals as well. I used up a lot of space. If you don't have about half your page left, you might want to go to the next side, or just start writing slightly smaller because we're going to do another example. So in this, again, I'm going to draw just a little line. And I'm switching back to green because this is my example, things I should be doing. And make sure you write exactly how I do. So let's start with doing 2 decimal 0, 0, 3. Excuse me. And 6 decimal. And notice my 6 is right under my 2. My decimal is right under my decimal. And let's add 0, 1. Make sure yours is written just like that. Now we are still working on adding. There we go. So in this problem, we need to add our thousands. So we have 3. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. Our decimal gets dropped down, and 2 plus 6 is 8. Let's write it just like how we did up top. I'm going to skip a line and then draw my blue line going down, just like that, because I still want room for my non-example. But let's talk about how I knew that the 2 and the 6 had to be added, because the 3 didn't change and the 1 didn't change. Why is that? So let's write in unit form, just like we did up top. So on the first number, I have 2 digits that have value. I have 2 ones. It's in the ones place. And I have 3 thousandths. So I have my 2 digits represented with their place value. To that, I am adding 6, and it's in the ones place, and 1, and it's in the hundredths, excuse me. Okay, here's up top why these numbers didn't get added together. The 2 place values I was working with weren't the same. Down here, do you see any place values that the 2 numbers have in common? I do. I see ones and ones. Anything else? That's it. Thousandths and hundredths aren't the same place, so they can't be added together. So if we worked this out with a place value chart, kind of like we did above, again, you have to write a little small. I'm going to draw, let's do 4 lines this time. 2, 3, 4. And I'll have a ones place, a tenths, I'm just going to do it as a fraction, a hundredths, and a thousandths. Of course, my decimal goes in between my ones and tenths. So my first number, I had 2 ones. 1, 2. And 3 thousandths. 1, 2, 3. There we go. My second number, I had 6 ones. I switched colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 100th. This shows I only have 3 thousandths, 1 in the hundredths, 0 in the tenths, and my ones, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 total ones. So my non-example for this time I want you to rewrite your 2.003. But this time I want you to line up your numbers just like we did on this first one, where they're lined up on the right. So I'm going to start over here. This is going to be my 1. The 0 is going to go underneath that first 0. And then the 6 is going to go underneath the second 0. And then don't forget the decimal. I'm using red because this is not what we do. When we add, we still need to add up each column. So 3 plus 1, whoops, is 4. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. And 2 plus nothing is 2. There's a number of things wrong with this. First, if I was estimating this, this is about 2, about 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. I don't know where I could put my decimal here that would make this anywhere near 8. So I don't know where my decimal goes. Can't go here because I'd be about 2. Couldn't go here, it'd be about 26, about 260, and then of course 2,604. So this is incorrect. So why is it that when we're adding up these numbers, we always line them up on the right, but for a decimal number, we don't? Well, here's why. On this problem, think about where would the decimals be? They go right at the end. My 5 was in my ones place, so the decimal's right after it. So this actually is showing what this is, where my decimals are lined up together. Lined up together, because that ensures that you're adding your ones together, your tenths, your hundredths, your thousandths. You can only add like values or like place values. All right, we're going to do some example problems in our problem set. So I'll let you get caught up on your notes and then go to the next slide when you're ready to try some practice problems. Good job, everyone.